Hi all, right back with more The Other Side of the Hill solo. This is my part 13, and yes, I have just come straight back, so the camera didn't even move there. So if any of you have just finished watching part 12 and started watching part 13, I should be focused in on exactly the same area. Yeah, right, Grant. Okay. I'm sure folk aren't going to go and check that and look at that and blah, blah. I've actually found it quite interesting how I sometimes stop my recording and go and or put my camera on charge, and I come back and put the camera back in and then continue, and it's weird how I seem to be able to sometimes, I mean, not all the time, put the camera in exactly the same position as it was. Yeah, not all the time, but anyway. Okay, right. So yeah, I'm going to get another part in tonight, and even might push in for another one. We'll see. So we are on. We've just finished the New Year phase. We're into a new year, 1941, the winter of 1941, in the administrative phase, and we're at the bombing of Germany step. So bombing of Germany, no issue still. It's still in the 5 box, which is no effect. So we move on. Our economy segment now. So Wehrmacht replacements. Now, just remembering back there that one of the projects required this Panzer Army to be or a Panzer Army to be in the force pool. So that's something to think about, Grant. If you want to probably just leave that there. That was Project Assault Guns. It's a production cost of 2. So, yeah, we've got 3 production cost cards with 2 and 1 of 1. So, yeah, would be nice. The 1 of 1 is forced labour, which moves one of these replacement markers to the right. Though you've got to watch with that, because this is going to happen after you've adjusted your production, though, Grant. Which means you can cheekily move your Wehrmacht replacements down to 2, move your production cost up to 3, and maybe be able to start one of the projects and do the forced labour and move your Wehrmacht replacements back as well. So I'm sure that's not really a very clever idea, and most folk would quite clearly see that that's what you should do. So yeah, I suppose I'm thinking to do that project, I need to leave that there. That's all I'm concerned with there. Right, well, yeah, we need to know what we're going to do. So our military objectives, well, Barbarossa needs to happen in the summer. We're in the winter. Should we start preparing for it? Probably. I've got invasion of Spain here. Spain is a resource country, so would be nice. So I'd quite like to think about that. I mean, Barbarossa's a 3, that's a 2. Invasion of Middle East a 2. Invasion of Vichy, well, we've got I think we brought along the diplomatic option for that. Invasion of Yugoslavia. Well, what do we do? What happens? Invasion of Vichy, what happens? Areas 21 and 26 are activated. Yeah, I just looked at this recently, didn't I? So, 26 and 21. Well, 26 is not... Yeah, I don't think we ought to be doing that, Grant. Do we? What's the objective? The objective is... Marseille. Okay. Well, Marseille's only in here, so we don't really care about that. Well, we might care about it if we take Marseille. What happens? It says, oh yeah, no, I looked at that. That's rubbish. All it does is the air naval control on the Southern Front goes up by +1. Yeah, I can only attack in here as well, because that's the only place you're allowed upon. That doesn't really do an awful lot for us then, does it? And it means this is North Africa is activated. Yeah, we might not be able to do that then. Well, maybe I do want to be diplomatic there then. So I'm thinking invasion of Spain, and let's get set up for Barbarossa as well. With the other possibility of Yugoslavia. I want to say there's one card I seem to see one of the playthrough guys getting, that it was if Yugoslavia was under Axis control. Can't remember the name of the card. It reduced did it reduce a resource? No, or was it just a replacement? Couldn't have been a resource, surely. It was bad anyway. Which makes me sort of feel like I maybe don't want to. I just want to leave Yugoslavia neutral, or maybe diplomatically. Well, I think diplomatic would be the same because it'd be under Axis control, wouldn't it? Okay, so Barbarossa, Spain, and I'm going to consider the Middle East then. So that's where we want some armies. Okay, Barbarossa is going to take a bit more to set up, but Spain, I'd like to go for Spain, I think. I'd like to go for Spain. Now, hold on here. Do I not need to control southern France? Yeah, you don't control southern France, Grant. You goat. Okay, I'm starting to see things. So, although I'm saying that the invasion of Vichy doesn't do well, gives me a +1 to my air naval control in southern front here, I'm thinking, well, that's not that great. I have to take Marseille to do that, and by taking Marseille, I then control southern France and then can go after Spain. Okay, now it makes more sense. So, in actual fact, I probably do want to consider the invasion of Vichy then. Okay, I don't want to bring that Panzer army out. So, invasion of Vichy, we're going to attack it here. I've got 2 grey, 2 white. Well, I could upgrade one of them. Let's do that. Let's upgrade one of them. I mean, I'd like to bring the Panzer army out, but, well, like I've just said, if I'm wanting to play... Well, you could wait until the next season. What card was that again? Assault guns. Yeah. It's eventually going to remove, and you only need that in defence. We don't really need that until 1942 anyway. Okay, invasion of Vichy, I don't know. Right, so I might be doing invasion of Vichy. Well, I can't do invasion of Vichy and Spain. I could do Yugoslavia. Oh, no, can't. Season's winter, so I can't do Yugoslavia. And if I'd done the Middle East, which I could do, combat pawns area 16 or 28. Axis controls Egypt or Turkey. Well, we control Turkey. 16 or 28? 16. 28. Why is it saying that? Right, I'm confused by that one. Where is it again? Middle East. It says combat pawns, area 16 or 28. The prerequisite is the Axis controls Egypt or Turkey. We control Turkey, we don't control Egypt. Egypt's 28 itself. The objective is to take Damascus, which is Middle East. That seems to be suggesting that you could come from Libya into Egypt with this card. if you control Turkey. I don't know. That's something feels a bit odd about that. I mean, I'm fine with coming from Turkey to Middle East. So that costs 2, that one. We can't do Spain anyway. So the other one's Yugoslavia. Oh no, but I can't do that in the one. Alright, okay. I know what I'm doing there. I want armies in southern France to go after Vichy, and I want armies in Turkey. Right, you can see we can get another army there. Right, what a time, eh? What a time to take. I'm enjoying myself. Right, well, clearly we should put... Yeah, if you're going to go for the Middle East, our second replacement is going to be placing a reduced army there. Now that's us got 3. We've got one more. I'm just wondering about maybe backtracking that one and going for the Panzer Army, because I don't think I'm going to play that Project Assault Guns anyway. And then we've got... Yeah, so let me backtrack a little bit. So I upgraded reduced army to a regular, didn't I? So I'm going to take that... Where the hell am I? Well, if we do the combat down here, we need to take Damascus. We're going to advance, so it's more than likely we're taking our regular army and our Panzer army down into there, and then advancing, reducing our Panzer army back again. So okay, so 1 there. I'm going to go for the Panzer army. So that's 1 there. That's 2, and then the third one. You know what? I might just. Yeah, I think I might just do that as well, actually. So these are back in the first pool. So that was 3, wasn't it? I hope. Right, so we don't have a Panzer army in the first pool, so I can't play the Project Assault Guns this turn. Okay, that's my Wehrmacht replacements. That was all 3 of them spent. Took a while, I know. Right, Luftwaffe replacements are at 2. Is this the one? Can you do the Germany box for that one? Yeah, you can. I mean, it's still at 5, but yeah, good to know that you can do that. Or the other 3 fronts. Yeah. Okay, so for 2, I'm pretty sure we're going to bump the southern one up by 1. Yeah, I was going to leave a comment on this, but I thought I'd talk about it, and I've kind of forgot about it, actually. Well, actually, hold on, before I get distracted, that's 1, I've got 1 more, so we don't need Germany, but so it's either east or west. We're probably better going for west, I think. And we do want to start moving the east up, but I think if you're going to go and do the Vichy hang, so I'm going to go for west. Yeah, last turn I want to say what I done was I actually done the same. I moved the southern front up by 1 to 4, and then I thought about using the other point to move it to 5. And I thought, nah, I'm not going to do that. I left it at 4 and I moved that up to 3. And then when I came into my movement, I moved that back down to 2 and moved that up to 5. Which is just the same, isn't it? It's not really... Yeah, I don't know if there's ways... that's in between... Yeah, it's after your directives, after your strategic warfare, you go into your movement. I don't know. I'm not quite sure if there's ways of doing it to help you there. I don't know. Maybe something will click and I'll say, right, I see the reason for it. Anyway, okay, that's my Wehrmacht replacements. Sorry, I've not moved that up. And then we've got strategic warfare, which is that 1. And yes, it never got reduced, and we opened up that box number 3, so that goes up to 3 now, and we've still got production at 1. I've not seen any other card that suggests you can increase that anymore. I've not come across anything yet, anyway. I dare say it's there, maybe later in the game. And so that was Strategic Warfare replacements of 1, and then we now move on to satellite replacements. So we've got 2 countries with satellite replacements, so we'll get to roll 2 yellow dice. Let me move on here. Strategic Warfare, I've done that. Satellite replacements. Right, so 1 for each country. So we just need the 1 hat. So we luck out this time. So no, we don't get a satellite army for either Italy or Romania, Bulgaria. So, oh well, never mind. Right, so now the production table. Okay, so now we've got to decide. We've increased it to 13, haven't we? So right now we're sitting 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we can push 1 up. Remember, Luftwaffe and Strategic Warfare can only go to 2. But it's all going to be about the directives here, isn't it? We really want to... I mean, if I'm not going for... Well, I can't go for assault guns. Oh yeah, remember, we can play this and mess about, can't we? So we can play this, knock unrest down, and move a replacement marker one up to the right. Okay, so we should play with that. So we're not playing assault guns. Are we going to go for strategic bombers or Tiger and Panther? Oh, well, the USSR is not at war, so we're not going for Tiger and Panther, are we? Yeah, I think, to be honest, assault guns is probably the better one, so maybe that was a blunder. So it looks like if I'm wanting to put my production cost to 3, I'm probably going to be doing strategic bombers and getting that started at least. We've done the submarine bases, so it might be worth if we can afford to put it to 3. If not, we're definitely going to put it to 1, and we can knock 1 of our replacements down. So, well, let's. I like to just do it this way. I think I'm sure it's all right if I put that to 3. Well, right now we're sitting at 13, aren't we? However, by using the forced labour, well, I'd be able to, my strategic warfare would be able to go up to 2, but I don't really think I want that going up to 2 anyway. I mean, it's sitting at 3, which is its max. If I get knocked back 1, sitting at 1 is fine. So I think I could knock this down by 1 and allows us another space. No, so is it political or... Well, let's look at the military ones. So what we were looking at, Middle East, Vichy. We can't do Spain. Yeah, Middle East and Vichy would be 3. Yeah, 3 cost. So if I put that to 3, that's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's a certain suite. It does mean that our political directives is only 1. So, yeah, and I wanted to do that I wanted to do this one, didn't I? I should zoom out a little bit. Right. I wanted to do that one, which is a 1. What else would you want to do? Bribing generals? No, it's not. I don't think I need to do this season. I can wait. Unrestricted submarine warfare. Nah, I don't know how to do that. Diplomacy Spain, then. That's 3. Nah, let's not bother. Yeah, so I'm going to leave my political directives at 1 and just play the... Yeah. So I think I'm good there. I'm good with that. So let's just double check. 13 I should have. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Perfect. Right, good. Okay, moving on. Production directives. Right, our production directives are at 3. So, I'm going to come back here and, well, actually, one of them's involving that track, isn't it? So let's get forced labour. So this is a cost of 1. So I'm still going to have 2 left. So I'm going to play forced labour to move unrest by -1. Where's unrest? There. Unrest -1, so it goes back down to 0. And then also, I'm going to move 1 replacement marker 1 box to the right. And then after playing this card, add it to production directive deck. So it comes back again. And obviously I'm going to move my Vermok replacement marker back to 3. Like everybody would be doing right now. So that goes back in the production directives card. So we'll see that again, or be able to take that again next year. Right, that's one of my 3 production directive points. And the other 2, we're going to do Project Strategic Bombers. Right, prerequisite is the card Submarine Bases has been played. It has. And that's the one that unlocked the 3 box in Strategic Warfare. And this one's to try and unlock the 4 box. It's going to take a little time, but developments 3. Remove the 4 lockbox marker from box 4 in the Strategic Warfare track. Right. So yeah, so I'm going to have to keep playing this card if I want that to happen. But we'll get it started. So development 3, let's see, does it tell you about, no it doesn't really, does it? So I'd like to see, just look at that in the rule book, give me a sec. Right, so this is where the project track comes into things. And we're going to play this card. So, there should be a marker called Project Strategic Bombers, I think. Here it is. So, Strategic Bombers marker. Sorry if that's not focusing in, don't think it is. No, it's not playing. Right, oh, can I not just click on the camera, Grant? No, that's not working it. Right, anyway. You'll see it when I put it in. So... yeah, let me just read through this, make sure I'm getting this right. I think I just put this on the 3 development. It's got a development of 3. So I'm pretty sure it goes on this track at 3. Right? And we've got to get it to 0 to complete it. So we've got 3, we need to play it 3 times. So place that with project side up, maximum development factor. The card may be played again later turns. After play, including the first time, the head of production rolls 1d6. Subtract 1 if the advanced project -1 markers on the matching. Yeah, okay. So we're going to roll, and we need. So the development's 3, so we need 3. We need to succeed 3 times. The actual advance to do it is a 4. So we need to roll a 4 plus. Oh, not impossible to fail here, but there we go. Oh, we get like 6. Good. Okay, so that succeeds, and all that happens there is this drops down to the 2 box. This card's then done. I can zoom out again. This card's done, and we need to basically bring that back next year and do it again. Sorry, not next year. Next. Yeah, no, it is. That's a yearly thing then, isn't it? Ooh. Okay. That is right, isn't it? So, hang on, have I got that right? If the die roll, move its marker. The card may be played again on later turns. Ah. Yeah, I thought that. That seemed... So does this just stay in my hand then? It must do, yeah. Yeah, because that would be impossible to do that if it was just once every year. Okay, so that just stays in my hand. Yeah. If the die roll fails or the project is not completed after a successful die roll, which is what has happened to us, the project card is available for play on later turns of the year. Okay, so it just goes back in my hand. Good. That's good. Okay. Yeah, it makes sense though. I mean, you're never going to get it complete, are you? Right, that's that. Production directives done. Moving on. Political directive. Well, we've got just the 1 point in political, and we're going to do this. So activation of Ob Sud. This is south. So the prerequisite, it costs 1. The prerequisite is status of Italy is intervention or occupation. It is intervention, so we're going to place a vacancy marker in the Ob Sud command box 3.3.4. So I'm going to just turn to the page there, but I think it's just, so that's going to go there. 3.3.4. I skipped over that. 3.3.4. Right, there's not a 3.3.4. So that must be a misprint. Oh, and unrest -1. Place a vacancy mark in the Ob Sud command box. I don't know what. There was a small section of errata brought out for the game. What am I here for? Unrest -1. There it goes down again. Hold on. Now 3.3.2 is activating Ob Sud, so it must be that 0.4 should be a 0.2, I think. It's on page 13. Activating Ob West, Ob Sud, and Ob Ost. So they are the command positions for each of the fronts. If these boxes are not occupied by a general marker at the beginning of a scenario, they are not available because they have not been activated yet. In order to activate an Ob command post, the head of OKW must play the matching political directive card, which we've just done. When one of these 3 cards is played, place a vacancy marker in the Ob head box of the appropriate front. A general will be appointed to the new position in the command segment of the next operations phase. Good stuff. Okay, so that card's played. We've reduced our unrest by -1 as well, which I almost forgot. And then that card's done for the game. Don't read it again. Okay, and then, right, on to the bigger one. So military directives. And now we push that to 3. So I think we're going to play both of these. Let's just do it. So we're going to play Invasion of Vichy for 1. The prerequisite is the status of France is Vichy. It is. It's Vichy. And we're... and it's got this special note. In the current season, the Metz sector is plains. I don't know the relevance to that. I mean... I'm not sure. Well, if they attack in there against us and get tank results, yeah, okay, so we need to keep that in mind. But hang on, I'm hoping to be able to attack them first and get into here anyway. So I don't know. Not sure. Maybe if somebody knows what I'm missing with that, maybe what the purpose of that is. Probably something obvious, I'm just not seeing. So we're going to play that. So that's going to go down here as one of our military objectives, and we get a combat pawn on it. And then we're also, remember our military directive cost was at 3. That was 1 we've spent. We're also going to play this costs 2. Fall Orient 1. Invasion of the Middle East. The prerequisite is the Axis controls Egypt or Turkey. Well, we control Turkey. And we're going to put combat pawns, areas 16 or 28. Well, it's 1 combat pawn and 16 or 28. And a little confused about that. That is 16 in the Middle East. That is 28 and it's Egypt. So I can't. No, I can't make an attack on Egypt anyway. I don't know. Maybe there's again some straightforward reason for that. It could well be. Okay. 30 minutes already, Grant. Well, that's it. That's the administrative phase done. Alright, let's push on. So we're going to now move into the operations of the winter of 1941 and come down to strategic warfare. I'll bring my cards across here. So strategic warfare. So we're now a bit better with this. We've got 3 dice, one of which is grey. So a grey and 2 white. Goes in the cup. Is that right? Yeah. And then we're going to draw a combat card for the Allies. Remember, now we're into 1941, so things might get a bit trickier. So 1941 in strategic warfare is a 2 for the Western faction, so they're going to get 2 dice, and that card goes away. Right, so they get 2 dice. We've got 1 grey and 2 white, so we've got 3. And it's... Well, USA is not in the war yet, so the only thing... Oh, did I miss that? No, they count as hits when they're in combat, but it's for strategic warfare, the actual hit marker, that doesn't count unless the USA are in the war. And I want to say that that's the only thing. I mean, I'm not trying to suggest anything here. The USA were clearly a big part to the winning of the war. I'm not trying to say that. But I think this is the only thing that changes up when the USA become in the war. You would think there's maybe something else, but hang on. Right, sorry about that phone call. So, strategic warfare, die roll, 2 allied dice, we've got 1 grey and 2 white dice, right, and yeah, for us, I was saying about the hits, so the only thing that's a hit for them at the moment is the airplane symbol, and the only thing that's a hit for us is the hit symbol, and you've got strategic events, so we want to get more hits than them as well, so here we go. Right, they've got 1. Ooh, that's terrible, isn't it? Yeah, that's not good. We've got no hits at all. Because the tank doesn't count, the... what's it, the... I don't know, artillery symbol, I suppose it is. So there's the results. USA is not at war, so that's no effect. And that's no effect, and that's no effect. And that's a hit for them. However, we do have a strategic event that was one of our die rolls. Now, I don't know, have I spoke about this before? I think I did. I'm pretty sure I must have done. I felt like it didn't matter. It was one of the ones, maybe something similar to the situation with the Allied die roll and the combat, and you know, it's not going to matter much. But if let's just say they rolled a strategic event here as well, so it was 1 for us and 1 for them. It felt like watching the playthroughs of the other guys. On occasion, it spoke about who was drawn, whose strategic event it was. It could just mean that it was to do with the head of this and the head of that, but we'll see. Well, it might come up. Anyway, that's bad results. So we're going to draw a strategic event, and these have all been shuffled up for the new year. And so here we go. 1941. Right, that symbol doesn't do anything for us in the solo game. So this nationalist coup in Iraq. So if Iraq /Iran 15 is occupied or Italy is neutral, we would discard this card. So there's Iraq, Iran. It's not occupied. And Italy is not neutral, is it? No, it's a satellite to us, right. So it's not going to get discarded, so that's probably going to be a bad. Place a no Western offensive marker in an area of the southern front selected by the head of operation. Oh, this is good. So place a no Western offensive marker in an area of the southern front selected by the head. I'm the head of everything, so. So a no operations marker. Where are they actually? I think it's a way up. I think these are out here, aren't they? It's there. There's only the one. So no Western offensive marker. Right, and I'm getting to put this. Well, that's actually. I'm saying it's a good one. Would it matter? Well, if I can put it here, it's probably where I want to put it. Can I put it there? Yeah. So it's a Q in Iraq, right? Okay. Place a no Western offensive marker in an area of the southern front selected. Yeah, just there's no requirement for it. So I think we're going to put it here. Hold on though. Why am I looking? Why am I staring at these here? Why didn't Iraq and Iran and the Middle East try and have a combat in Turkey? I'll tell you why, Grant. That's why this game set out in these particular phases, because we invaded Turkey, we took Adana, and then that's in the Axis offensive phase. In the Western offensive phase, it's still disputed this area, and they still had the Western control disc there. So in the Western offensive phase, these two areas would not have been able to attack here. However, now it's different. So Iraq, Iran can attack Turkey, and Middle East can attack Turkey. And how do you do that? Did they both try a combat? I'm not sure. I'm going to have to find that one out. Yeah, so I guess what I was saying was, well, this is the only area that in the southern front that they can attack us, but that's now not the case because we've got Turkey there. Well, hold on, Turkey. Well, yeah, no, that's relevant, Grant, because if we do go for the Middle East, which is one of the cards we played, and we move two of our armies in there, we've only got one army left in there. And Iraq, Iran could, and maybe this is why this card's called Nationalist Coup in Iraq. So, yeah, maybe I think if we want to go for the Middle East and we've got the card in play, I think we want a no offensive marker in Turkey then. So they cannot attack into Turkey this season. Is it just for the season that? No offensive marker. Let me just have a look at that one. Yeah, okay. In the Western Offensive segment, it says, if there is a no Western Offensive marker in the operations box. That's not what we're doing, is it? No, that's in an area. So, yeah, that would stop. If there was a Western offensive marker in the operations block, we would skip it completely. So then it talks about landings. Place one allied combat pawn. Exception: do not place an allied combat pawn in areas with a no Western offensive marker When there are no allied combat pawns left on the map, remove all no western offensive markers from the map and proceed to so it. Yeah, so once you've done all this shit, it comes off again. Right. Alright, what else was I thinking there? So it's only going to be... right, so it's only going to be in the winter season, and then spring again, we can reinforce Turkey, can't we? Yeah. Okay. I think it seems better, this, although I would like to do it here. But, I mean, if I attack the Middle East... I mean, I suppose I only need to move one army in. I could leave the 2 armies there. But we move one army in, we've not taken... Yeah, we have taken Damascus. So we have taken complete control, haven't we? Because we had that... Ooh, no. Because the army that moves in must be the one that has to be reduced. So we'd need to take the regular army and reduce it to a reduced army to advance to Damascus, wouldn't we? I just sort of feel like it might be nice to have another supply check roll in here and try and do something about this. Having no western, like, not have that in there, have it and put it in here. I don't know what's the best play here. Okay, I've just noticed something here. I've just noticed that by us going into Middle East here, and look at this military directive card, and I think this is maybe somebody may have commented on this. It's got the recycle action there. So this card, once we complete this card, it won't get discarded. There's another purpose to this card. And we could play it again next turn, and then attack Egypt, which is area 28 from the Middle East. Yeah, I can see. And this is good to get for the naval supply +2. And then you still have to worry about Iraq and Iran. Well, we never had the card to do Iraq or Iran, did we? I feel like it's... I shouldn't really be giving up on Libya, though. And by doing that, it protects it from this turn. But Iraq, Iran are going to possibly have a combat with Turkey. If I leave my Panzer army and my reduced army there, that's not that strong, is it? Yeah, that's a tough one, eh? I feel like that's a tough choice here. The problem is that once I take the Middle East and I'm trying to hold Turkey and the Middle East, Iraq and Iran are going to come at us, aren't they? You know, and then you're talking about going into Egypt, but your armies are going to be... Well, we're going to have to really strengthen the areas, which I suppose we could do in the spring. And maybe we're not going to do Barbarossa in the summer. Does it need to be the summer, Barbarossa? I think it does, doesn't it? Can't be the fall, can it? No, so you're only going to be able to do it in the summer. Well, I'm still curious to see what might happen here. But I mean, if that hits war, and we've not started Barbarossa, then that's what I expect to kind of happen. But anyway, right. So where are you putting this no offensive marker, Grant? Come on. Right, I think I'm going to go with this. problem is also here, I'm just looking about saying, now we can only have one German army in these areas, but to get them from the, I suppose you could transfer them from in the strategic movement and bring them down. Oh, I'm going to do that. Right, let's do that. So that completes that card, and that's done. This is discarded. That is a strategic event, so it goes away. We'll see it again. And that was that dice taken care of. However, we did lose the strategic warfare. So Western hits are greater than. So distribute the hits as reductions to the strategic warfare and Germany air naval control tracks. Yeah, the Germany. It's a Germany box, yeah. So I can either take it's one hat. So I either take it on strategic warfare or take it on Germany box. Well, I've got a boost to this, so I'm going to take it on strategic warfare, yeah. And we should be able to put that up to 3 in. Well, unless any other events come along and scupper that plan, which is possible. Right, that was strategic warfare. So now movement, which is, yeah, quite important. I feel, well, yeah, I can't put anything in this till supply. But if I can avoid this going down, then we're guaranteed to open up our supply port. And then we can get a German army in. Not only a German army, though, but we can bring one of these satellite armies in there. We can't do that at the moment. Okay, movement. So, yeah. So I'm starting to feel like I would quite like to bolster this up a bit, but so what I could do, how much movement? I've got 5 movement in the southern front. Yeah, because we decided the no offensive is going to be here, so why don't we move this to here and then the Panzer Army in? Well, hold on. Yeah, we can only have 3 armies in here. Obviously, Greece is not really getting threatened until 1942 when they can land. So a satellite army in here is fine. So, in actual fact, the Italian satellite armies could go in Greece, couldn't they? So I could move this guy in here. But it doesn't open up a space here. That's why I was thinking about moving that one back. Okay. I know the stacking limits. Enforce stacking limits after all operational movement is complete. Okay, so that tells me, could I do this? Could I move this and the southern front operational movement into here, overstacking there, and then move over to the western operational movement and move an army out of there? Well, actually, what I kind of was thinking of doing was moving this from here to here, because it can do adjacent, because it's adjacent, and it's going from front to front. I can do that in operational movement. And then in the western operational movement, moving that satellite army from there to there, which I believe I can do. But it's temporarily overstacking there. I think I can do that. I mean, I'm reading this off these cards, so maybe I should just double check the rules about that. I mean, these cards are just quoting the rules, so I don't think there'll be a problem with that. Movement, operational movement 4.2.1. Um, so, oh, hang on. Yeah, watch that one, Grant. In a single operations phase, a maximum of one army per front can be moved to or from an area, I don't know, with an able supply marker. Okay, well that is important. I'm glad I read that. That's with movement. So, you know how I said about I'd be able to move these two armies down in there? Well, I wouldn't be able to do that. Okay. Stacking limits are enforced at the end of each movement step. Oh, see? That's sort of different. I'm reading in the cards here. It says enforce stacking limits after all operational movement is complete. That's kind of different wording to me. That suggests, right, while I'm reading the rules there on page 15, movement segment 4.2, stacking limits are enforced at the end of each movement step. Yeah, and let's just read this. That is different. I'm pretty sure that is different, and what's written on that card is not quite accurate, I don't think. Head of operations is responsible for the actions in the segment. There are 3 types of movement, which are resolved as 3 successive steps. No, that's right then, Grant. 3 steps using operational movement, so that's a step. Armies can be moved within a front. Using strategic movement, which is a step, armies may be moved from one front to another. Using air... No, hold on. So, operational movement is a step. Yeah, no, that is wrong then, isn't it? Stacking limits are enforced at the end of each movement step. I'm struggling to get my head around that. No, I think it's okay. If they're enforced at the end of each step, the first step is operational movement. So if I go like that, that's the Southern Front movement complete. It's not one of the steps. We're not finished operational movement. So then I go into the Western and move it to there. That's fine. It's not until I then want to move into strategic movement that I've got to check for stacking. Yeah, so what it says in the card is correct. It's just wording it in a different way than what's written there. It says enforce stacking limits after all operational movement is complete. And then it'll say the same on the strategic movement. Yeah, it does. Enforce stacking limits after all movement. Yeah. Okay, so it's just it's written in a different way, and I think that's what was thrown there. So yeah, I think I'm just thinking about Northern France and just leaving something there. Because I can move this. I'm going to move this into here for one of my southern movement points, operational movement points. I've got 4 more. I'm then going to move that into there for another 1. That's 2. I've got 2 more. I'm going to move that back there for another 1. That's 3. Sorry, that's 3. I've got 2 left now. I had 5. Did I think I had 4? So I've done 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I've got 2 more left. It's not interfering with army group heads, vacancies and all that as well. I don't want to mess about with that. Oh, I just noticed we've got this in the strategic movement box. Okay, that's fine. I've got 2 more. Oh no, I was going to say I could move that from there. Well, you can. Oh no, I can't. I can't move that out of there. Well, when is that checked? Cannot move the last army out of an occupied area with a partisan activity symbol. So yeah, I guess you're not allowed to break that. That doesn't say that that's part of. You know, I can't. Did I not just do that there though? Well, okay, I would have done that the other way. Sorry, that would have been illegal then. What did we have? Did I had that, didn't I? Did you? I think I did. I think I had that. And what I've done was one of my movement points, I've done that. That would have been illegal because that's then leaving that empty. So what I would have had to do first was move that first. That's fine though. You know, you can see it's fine. I think I've still got 2 operational movement left in the southern front. Right, so just a bit of a glitch there. I think I'm at 55 minutes. I done one of the pause when I thought I was recording and recording when I was paused and whatever. So I think I led myself there. I still had 2 more points in the southern front. I don't think I'm doing any more with them, but I've started doing stuff here. Yeah, what I did was... Yeah, that's what I did, because I was not sure about the Eastern Front. Well, it's a muddle. I hate when I do that. It's so frustrating. I just look back on it and because I've done some movement over here now in the Western Front. The Eastern Front, I think all I did... Yeah, all I ended up doing was moving this army into here. Yeah, because to be honest, I only had 2 points anyway. I mean, there was a thought about bringing this one, but if I move that into there, then that's a partisan. Then next turn I can move the 2 reduced armies out. Right, jumping across here. Right, I've already moved this, but this was in here. These 2 were in here. Was it just A2? I think it was. So I went, I've got 3 movement there. I went 1 and then 2, 3. And with that, yeah, I was talking about all this already, but I wasn't recording. Von Lieb was there, so now he's not there anymore. And what's happened here is a vacancy become here because we've now got 5 armies here. There was 2 armies moved from there to there. There was only 3. Von Bock was in there, but now there's a vacancy in there as well for another general. And I think that was it. Yeah, that's your 3 movement. Yeah, I talked about possibly trying to strengthen this, and I could have maybe moved another Panzer army in here, but I didn't really have all the movement. You're actually restricted. It's very clever that the amount of movement that you get based on the air naval control tracks, and you can't keep them up. They can't keep them all up. So you're going to be restricted to your movement. You've got to just try and... That's why the Luftwaffe replacements are important, and yeah, it's all very smart. Very nicely done. Okay, so... Right, I think that's our operational movement. And yeah, I should probably try and get this one wrapped up as well, and then I might be able to get another part started, we'll see. So strategic movement, we've got this guy here. Now we've got 5 movement here, because that's based on your Germany track, so that's good. So, I'm assuming if it's, let's see, limitations in 4.2.2. Yeah, I think there is something here that's important, isn't there? Satellite armies may only use strategic movement to move to areas in the Eastern Front. Satellite armies cannot use strategic movement to move to areas in the Western or Southern Fronts. Okay. The maximum number of strategic movement actions. An army may enter and exit the strategic movement space in the same operations phase, provided the maximum number of movement. Yeah. Right, yeah, and if it's moving... Let me move to the strategic movement space, and from the strategic movement space to any area in another front with an axis control disk, even if it is neutral. Even if it's neutral. Right, yeah, okay. You cannot move to isolated areas. Okay. So, so what was I sort of concerned about? Yeah, I can't really do nothing about it though, can I? Because the stacking limits, you're kind of limited. Yeah, there's no real point me putting stuff down here. So I think I should move stuff over from here. Well, not from here because we're still doing stuff in here. And the thing is, if we're going to go for Spain next as well, we don't really want to empty all this out, do we? So 5 movement. So let's go. I'm reluctant to take that Panzer army though. Yeah, I think I kind of want to leave that there. So I'm going to go 1. And as soon as I do that 1, this vacancy goes away. 2. So... that's 2. Oh, why didn't I just go... Right, where... Barbarossa allows you to go into all different areas, doesn't it? Areas 1 to 11. And you get 3 pawns. But remember, you can only use... You just use 1. I'm just sort of thinking here, right? If I get a... But then as soon as we declare war, all these become... Do not all become sort of... I think that's where you kind of got to do it all in a one, haven't you? You've got to kind of get ready and go for it. Right, okay. I'm going to move... My other 3 strategic movement is going to be into Hungary. Then, I think. And with that, there is indeed going to be a vacancy in Hungary. And that's me used all my 5 strategic movement points. Okay. Right, air movement, redistribute axis between... Yeah. I sort of feel that when you're doing Luftwaffe replacements, you probably now don't want to do it in here. I think I say I proved that last turn where I done that and then I reversed it. I could have done it in the strategic warfare replacements. But I dare say things could change your mind. So I don't think I'm going to adjust anything there. No, I'm not. Right, so moving on to command, but I think I'm over the hour now, so I'll jump up to command. And that, I'll just stop the video there. I probably should take a break. Thing is, I'm worried that if I do take a break, I'll probably not come back. But okay, well, I'll see. But I should leave that part at that for now, and at least get these couple of bits copied across, and let's look at what's next. But I hope to be back with another part before the end of the day. Although it's getting into the night now, probably a bit later than. Yeah, it might be one of the late night episodes that we've not had for a wee while yet. Well, actually, there was one quite recently, wasn't there? Okay, right, I'll be back soon. Cheers.